Welcome to Take Two, NFL Week 10 edition of Benny versus the Penny. Here's your host, big, bloviating Ben Maller. Don't make any mistakes. We can't start over a third time, please.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom. This is one take only. Everyone knows the rules. We don't sit around here in the YouTube studio all day trying to figure out what we're doing at all. That does not happen. But I am looking forward to Week 10, which began with the Raiders and the Broncos and will carry us all the way through a pretty good Monday night game. Now, we have Philadelphia and Green Bay, which is the Monday night game. We'll get to that at some point here. We take the top games, Tom. We eliminate, we trim the fat. We get rid of the bad games. We focus on the good games on Benny versus the Penny, and we navigate you through. We handicap every game. We add a little spice to it, and we call it Benny versus the Penny. I test myself against an inanimate object.
It's incredible. In NFL Week 10, 8 wins, 5 losses, Ben. The Penny went 3-10. Season totals. Hey, let's get this up on
we have graphics here.
On a scroll. Season totals. Benny, 73 wins, 67 losses. Penny, 58 wins, 82 losses.
Oh, my God. That's horrific.
Yeah, you're up on the brainless Penny so far this season. Penny, for your thoughts?
Well, I thought I should do better than 6 games above 500. But, Tom, we do have a couple of teams we will not be talking about. The Bengals, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Titans all have the weekend off, Tom. They'll be in Cancun this weekend. My first thought, though, is the little fella on the move, Kyler Murray. Big story in the NFL this week. Kyler Murray benched by the Arizona Cardinals. He then apparently had such a hissy fit, they put him on injured reserve, even though there's video of him practicing last week looking fine, galloping around the field there for the Cardinals. And there's a lot of chatter. You know, the naked city does not sleep, Tom. There's a lot of chatter that Las Vegas Raiders will possibly land Kyler Murray. Now, I know Tom Brady is running the show there. That doesn't seem like a Tom Brady kind of move for the Raiders. Although I
do know it was always whispered in hushed tones back in the day that John Gruden really wanted Kyler Murray.
He really did. Okay, well, there you go. If you want to see a Kyler Murray-like guy, go to Fremont Street, and there's a guy panhandling that's about the size of Kyler Murray there.
Oh, yes. That's
Fremont Street there.
He's got little alligator arms. Yeah.
He's wearing a diaper. Yeah. All right. Also, how about the story in Chicago? The Bears having a better season, right? They're a playoff contender, the Chicago Bears. However, the clock issues remain for Caleb Williams. He has not improved his soft underbelly, the Bears quarterback here. The Bears' completion percentage above expectation is still minus 6.5%, which we're told is not good. In fact, it's the worst mark in the NFL, according to the next-gen nerd stats. And Caleb Williams' average time to throw is 3.24 seconds, which is also the worst mark in the NFL. So the Bears still have some work to do. And, hey, it's a suckers game. I've heard many people celebrating and saying that the New York Jets, they got it done. They won the week. They traded away their 2 top defensive players for a gaggle of draft picks, Tom. And so very excited about that. And to that, I say kerflooey is what I say, Tom. And it's like having a decent car, but not a great car, and saying, you know what, I'm gonna trade the car in for 4 tickets to bingo.
Well, for what's behind door number 3, and you know what's behind door number 3? A fucking donkey.
Well, let's see. We're on YouTube, so you couldn't say that on TV. But here's the thing, Tom. If you go back and look, I went back because I have no life on the radio show. The last 20 years. If you look at first-round draft picks, which is the prize, right? This is the end-all, be-all, the jewel, the crown jewel, the first-round draft picks. So the last generation, 20 years is a generation. So the last 20 years, the hit rate on first-round picks, meaning you become an all-pro, not Pro Bowl. Pro Bowls where they play water balloon toss and slip and slide and that kind of stuff. So tic-tac-toe. So last 20 years, the hit rate, if you were a baseball player, would be 161, which is still better than Mookie Betts in the World Series, but not good.
But percentage-wise, what is that?
It's 16%. You have a 16% chance of drafting a guy in the first round and him becoming an all-pro. Now, some will say, well, what about the top 10 picks? Okay, it's more likely than not the Jets did not acquire a top 10 pick in the trade. the trades they made with the Cowboys and the Colts. The top 10 picks hit at 21%. So like a 210 batting average in baseball. So that's that, Tom. Let's get to the games, though. We have games.
You're cursed if you get drafted by the New York Jets. It just means you'll never be any good. You're likely. We have a 16% chance in the NFL draft of being any good anyway. They go to the Jets, you got about a 1% chance.
Well,
okay,
through that, unless you go to another team after the Jets, and then all of a sudden
then you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Falcons at Colts. Colts offense didn't look good against the Steelers. All-world running back Bijan Robinson will get his for the Falcons. Atlanta is getting 6. What do we do here?
Well, this game is in Germany, Tom. It's in Germany.
That's right.
And you know what they call Wiener Schnitzel in Germany?
Let me think. What do they call it? Peter Dinklage.
That is correct. So
Okay.
Adam Amin, or just corn dogs, Adam Amin and Kurt Warner have the call. We know Kurt Warner loves doing these games. He's always seemingly in the broadcast when they go to
must like getting away from home.
Yeah. So, well, maybe. I wonder why. The Colts turned it over, Tom, last week 6 times, 5 of them by Daniel Jones in Pittsburgh. The Falcons also had Heartbreak Hotel. They missed a late extra point to New England. Also, were driving. They were matriculating the ball down the field. And then Michael Penix Jr. was thrown off. Actually, the center was thrown off by a clap. We had Clapgate in the NFL last week. So now they travel to Germany. The game kicks off at 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast, body clock-wise, for both these teams. And so this line, here's the problem. This line is inflated. The Colts have a bunch of guys on the injury report. People are very excited because Sauce Gardner's playing and all that stuff. The line is an overreaction here, Tom. Which Indiana Jones is going to show up? Is it going to be the good version, or is it going to be the Temple of Doom version? Last week for the Colts, with all the mistakes in Pittsburgh, it was the Daniel Jones we saw with the Giants. Atlanta plays ugly. The Falcons have been very good this season as dogs. They're 3-1 as underdogs. They have risen to the occasion here. I don't like Atlanta overall. I'm not a big fan of Raheem Morris. However, the way they play, they do have a top 10 defense in red zone efficiency, so they've been good there. The offense generally sputters. The Colts don't have a great defense. The sharp money is on the Colts, but I am going against the wise guys. Taking the dirty birds, and they're going to enjoy their sauerkraut. And what about the penny?
Okay, heads to the home team, tails to the visitors is how we play. Benny versus the penny. Here we go.
Big money.
That's okay. Benny letting on head. Benny going with the Colts. Benny going with the visitors.
All right,
Falcons.
Where are we going now, Tom? Where are we headed?
Giants at Bears. Giants are struggling. Bears playing pretty good football. New York is getting 3.5 points here.
All right. Yes, they are. This game on Fox. Joe Davis, just after his pep rally.
Isn't he the best?
Dodger mascot versus and Greg Olson. Greg Olson has the call, who's a very talented musician. And I know
incredible rapper back in the day.
Really good. Yes, absolutely. So the Bears had 47 points against the Bengals. That's the good news. The bad news is they're not playing the Bengals this week. However, the Giants haven't been much better than Cincinnati on defense. They've allowed 34 or more points in 2 of their last 3 games here. It's just a bad matchup for New York. The weather is going to be nasty. It's November weather, cold in the 30s. Chance of snow flurries, Tom.
Incredible. Somebody's been to NFLweather.com.
I know what you're talking about here. Now, I like Jackson Dart. I like the player Jackson Dart. I do think he's going to be good based on the small sample size. However, he doesn't do well against pressure. Most young quarterbacks don't. And Chicago's front 7 has been slowly getting better here. The Bears are 5-1 against the spread their last 6. Giants are 0-5 straight up here. This should be an ambush situation. Unless Caleb Williams is late coming from his Manny and Petty, it should be a domination situation here. The Bears have the top turnover differential in the NFL. They have 13 interceptions, plus 13 because of their interceptions on defense here. The Giants have allowed 20 or more points in 10 straight road games. I'm told that's not good.
That's not good.
So the Sharps are on Chicago, and so am I. I am taking the Bears. They will not hibernate. What about the penny, Tom?
Okay, let's see what the penny says. Heads for the home team, tails. Penny letting on heads. Penny taking the Bears and giving away the points. The penny is smart this week. trying to stick with what your picks are since Penny had such a bad week last week. Now we go to Saints at Panthers. Ben, Panthers hotsy totsy. Saints hotsy nazi. New Orleans getting 5.5 points.
So this is a game I did the old switcheroo on. Originally, when I started handicapping the game, I went into the lab, the sorcerer's workshop there, and I started looking at the numbers. I was like, okay, I'm going to take Carolina here. This is a good matchup for Carolina. And then I kept digging and digging. And I was like, no, I'm flipping that. Carolina is 6-2 against the spread. They have fallen into the Rico Dowdell, the running back, former Cowboy, has been great. Tailor-made to chew the clock and play that style of football. And Carolina has done very well at controlling the game recently. If they can do that again, obviously they shrink the game. They reduce variance, which means there's less chance for crazy things to happen. The Saints are the worst team in football. They're horrific, all that stuff. However, it's a divisional game, and I just don't trust Carolina here. I realize the Saints are going with a quarterback, a rookie, Tyler Shuck, who looked bad against the Rams and all that.
And don't you betting people like to do the yin-yang zigzag thing or whatever you call it?
Well, yeah. Carolina is coming off a win against the Green Bay Packers, so this is a regression to the mean. And New Orleans got blown out by the Rams, one of the games we got right last week, so this should flip the game the other direction here. Here's my issue, Tom. The one big win that Carolina had was against Atlanta, but the Falcons were guilty of going AWOL. They just didn't show up that game.
Well, what about Green Bay?
Yeah, that was a close game. My point is that they won that game by a field goal, right?
Right.
So if this line was 3 points, I'd be like, okay, this line seems like too much. Now, the sharp money does appear to be leaning towards the Saints. We always look at that because that's a pretty good indicator, because those are the people that have the massive bankrolls, Tom, that have some real skin in the game. So you kind of want to align yourself with those that are.
How do you know who those guys are betting on?
Well, you got to dig deep into the grass, Tom, deep into the weeds to find that stuff. But you can dig around on the dark web.
That's why we listen to you, because I don't like to do that much homework.
No, you don't want to do that here. But
I do the heavy lifting in the gym.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. New Orleans has the second lowest point total in the NFL. I think I mentioned that already. But listen, I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to go marching. They're not going to win the game, but they will cover. This will be an ugly game. This will be a field goal game. It shouldn't be this close. Carolina should win this game by at least 2 touchdowns, but they will not. And the penny picks.
And that's one thing to remember when you watch Benny versus the Benny. It's not about who's going to win. It's who's going to cover. This show's all about the cover.
Yeah, some people have a tough time swallowing that, Tom. They don't understand that that's the pitch. That's what we do here.
Penny landing on heads once again. Penny going with the Panthers, the hot team. The Panthers has just beat the Green Bay Packers. Penny going with the sad sack Saints. Now, before we dovetail into the B block, as we call it in the business, Ben, sell the soap, will you please?
Well, this is a relatively new venture. It is a mom and pop shop. I'm not sure who mom is and who pop is, but Benny versus the Penny, which was born, it was a natural birth on radio back in the day. And then over time, we have evolved. I've worked with some other people before we settled in with the great Tomm Looney, and I was on the podcast. I do the 5th Hour podcast. And then the last couple of years, we were picked up by NBC. We did so well on NBC. They said, we want you guys to go global. We said, okay, we'll go global. And here we are. We're on YouTube for a global audience. So, and we need your support. So click the follow button. Thumbs up helps us out a lot. I'm studying, because I have no lifetime. I'm studying the algorithms of YouTube. Some people have said we need better thumbnails, that our thumbnails are not good. That's the key for people to click on, the nice thumbnail. So we need to work on that. And if you have any suggestions, and we want to make you part of this, right? You're part of the beginning of this new venture. So let us know. I try to respond to everybody who posts on the Benny versus the Penny video. In fact,
that's great.
Yeah, I'm thinking about even doing like an Ask Ben type thing on the YouTube feed this weekend. So help us out. But let's get back to the game stuff.
Okay, Patriots at Bucs, best game of the week. Could it be a Super Bowl preview? Well, no, I don't know about that, but it is a good game. New England is getting 2.5 points.
So the Drake Maye experience. He's now the baby gangster, Tom. He's a baby gangster for the Patriots here. This is the Jim Nantz, Tony Romo game, which means hello, friends.
Oh, yeah. Look at that, Jim.
Yes, that's how that's going to go. Hello, friends. And then, yes, exactly. So listen, the Buccaneers are coming off a bye, a week 9 bye, so they're completely filled in the injury tent here. They have a little extra time to rest, recover, all that stuff. The Creamsicles are the lone team this week coming off a bye while facing a team not coming off a bye themselves. So they have a competitive advantage. And with Baker Mayfield, the Buccaneers the last couple of years have outperformed the gambling line at Raymond James Stadium. They have a pretty good record there. New England comes in with a highfalutin defense, which is ranked number 1 against the run, and they're solid across the board. But how much of that is – I know Alf's going to get upset, some of my guys in Boston, Danny DeVito and those guys, but it's a cream puff schedule. You don't know how legit it is. Tampa is going to be the top team other than Buffalo that the Patriots have played. Now, the Bucs are going to try to attack that secondary, which is not great for the Patriots, with the vertical passing game and mix in some short field opportunities. Mike Evans is out, though. He cracked his collarbone, which I'm told hurts. And at the time we are doing Benny versus the Penny, it seems like Chris Godwin's not going to play. He's questionable as well. So you got Drake May on one side. You got Baker Mayfield on the other. I trust Baker Mayfield more than I trust Drake May.
Absolutely.
Now, I am going against the sharps on this. The wise guys are taking the Patriots. I'm going with the public, which is never a great idea, but I'm doing it anyway. I just don't trust that New England's going to play all that well in this game. So I'm taking the Buccaneers. Fire the cannons, as Gene Deckerhoff would say, and the penny picks, Tom.
Fire the penny. Let's do the penny. Oh, the penny's on the Patriot bandwagon. Penny landing on tails. Benny going with the Bucs. Penny taking the Patriots and the points.
All right. We take the Benny versus the penny copter. And where do we take the helicopter now?
Ravens, Vikings. Vikings, green banana quarterback J.K. McCarthy going up against the best quarterback in the NFL, Lamar Jackson. But number 1 in the quarterback rating since week 1. Minnesota, impressive last week. Ravens, impressive against the Dolphins, as is everybody. Minnesota getting 4.5.
So I learned this week, I don't know if you saw this or not, that J.J. McCarthy has an imaginary friend, a second personality, an alter ego. He said when he plays in games, his alter ego is known as 9, his jersey number. Number 9.
Okay.
Jersey number. Is this healthy, Tom, or does he need some kind of intervention?
Well, I think we found out through Manti Te'o it's not always healthy. Sometimes when other people find out about imaginary friends, your career is ruined. But in this case, we'll find out if he has a career. So far, he's hot and cold as a professional.
Well, and the way this works, when you get down in the trenches, Tom, if McCarthy's good, they'll say, what a character this guy is. He's got an imaginary friend. If he's bad, send in the guys with white coats.
Exactly.
It's that kind of thing. Anyway, Baltimore also, a mini bye, they absolutely kicked the snot out of the Dolphins last Thursday, which begs the question, how much of that was the Ravens and how much of that was the Dolphins just not being engaged? We don't really know that, obviously. Lamar Jackson has the amazing record against NFC opponents with Baltimore. He's 24-3, but 0-2 straight up the last couple of games here. Lamar should be able to exploit a Minnesota defense that has been very inconsistent. Lamar has thrown multiple touchdowns in 4 of 5 games. And you figure with Rudolph, the red-nosed tight end there, Kyle Rudolph, they should be able to throw the ball. Not Kyle Rudolph. What am I thinking of? Not Kyle Rudolph. The other tight, I'm forgetting his name. I'm having a mental block here, Tom. But listen, there should be plenty of opportunities there for Lamar Jackson here. Minnesota's defense has been they're just lacking. They haven't shown up every week. They played pretty well last week. The Lions made a bunch of mistakes. You look at the weakness, though. The Minnesota run defense, Baltimore should be able to have a lot of success here with Derrick Henry. The Vikings occasionally on run defense, they show lapses there. They've allowed 6 rushing touchdowns this year. There have been some games where they've allowed some big runs here. So I'm going to take the team from Baltimore. You say I never picked the Ravens. This is now 2 weeks in a row, Tom. I'm going with John Harbaugh's team to dig out of that hole. Assuming that Marlon Humphrey can stay with Justin Jefferson, I'm going to take the team from Baltimore, Sports with Coleman's Ravens here, as a road favorite by 3.5. The sharp money is leaning towards Minnesota.
Penny landing on tails. Benny and the penny, taking the Ravens and giving away the points. See, you're smart, Ben. You got to start jumping on that Lamar Jackson. He wins 8 out of 10 games, although that's not what this is about.
Well, it's about the point spread. Let's go to greener pastures, Tom. Where are we going now?
Let's go to the San Francisco Bay Area. Rams at 49ers, NFC West brouhaha. Some would call it a hullabaloo. I know you like to broadcast to the lowest common denominator. You call it a snot bubbler? Or is that
No. This is skullduggery is what this is.
Skullduggery. Okay. What's the other one? Slobber knocker? Is it something?
Slobber knocker's a good one. Yeah, I like slobber knocker.
Okay. Yeah, as you would. Mac Jones against Matthew Stafford. 49ers getting 3.5 points.
I love that a guy wearing a crocodile shirt is highbrow. I love that. What kind of bizarro world are we living in here, Tom? So this is a fun house of mirrors for Sean McVay going against Kyle Shanahan. Domination situation against the spread. It is a recurring nightmare for Sean McVay, who seems to have a split personality, kind of like J.J. McCarthy. He's great against everyone other than Kyle Shanahan. 49ers. Yeah, it's his kryptonite. The 49ers have covered. I'm surprised it's not worse than this. 6 of the last 10 matchups against the Rams. There was a Week 17 matchup that doesn't really count, that skewed the numbers more in favor of the Rams. So the Niners outperform the gambling line when they play the Rams as underdogs. It makes no sense. Now, the Niners did beat the Rams earlier, so this is a bit of a revenge spot if you believe in such things in pro football. No Bosa, no Fred Warner, no name defense here, and so they're going to have to disguise coverages and try to convince, or try to bait, I guess is the better word, bait Matthew Stafford into making some mistakes here and ride Christian McCaffrey, who has to dominate. He has to dominate most games, but if he doesn't play well here, the Niners are going to lose this game by 20 points. I don't expect anything flashy. The Niners are just going to have to grind out drives, take time off the clock, win the field position battle, all that stuff. All things they are capable of doing. The Rams lead the NFL in defensive EPA. They would have, could have, should have beaten San Francisco. Remember, Kyron Williams fumbled within the 5-yard line in that game at SoFi Stadium. So despite the public, the sharp money, the public's on the Niners, the sharps are on the Rams. I'm going against the wise guys again, Tom. Going to be a bad weekend for them. I am taking the aforementioned 49ers. I'm going against, as you like to say, the team of my youth, Tom.
Okay, and week 10, and Christian McCaffrey isn't hurt yet. That's kind of a big deal, right?
Well, I think he was dinged up a couple weeks ago. So he has not a major injury,
It's about 11 good games a year. Unfortunately, there's more than that. Penny landing on heads. Penny taking the 49ers in agreement with Big Ben Maller. And
it's kind of like, Tom, it's kind of like those talk shows that are good for an hour or two, but can't do 4 hours. It's like, well, a good 2 hour talk shows.
You're right.
Anything easier than a 2-hour talk show? My God.
Oh my God. Give me that. Give me a 1 hour.
I had that years ago. I had a 2-hour midday show. It was so easy. Oh my God.
2 hours.
2 hours. You spend more time in traffic going to there. It's cake. That's not real work.
Was that the show where Terry Bradshaw had your first hour?
Yes. Lunch with Terry. Yeah. The great Terry Bradshaw. Yeah, that's right. Good memory.
Okay. Steelers at Chargers. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Steeler legend Terry Bradshaw, Steelers at Chargers and Inglewood and the Hood. Sunday night game. 2 teams that never really look impressive 2 weeks in a row. Pittsburgh's getting 3.
Yeah. Big NBC game. Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth have the call. Pittsburgh. You look at this matchup here, and the Steelers, did they really improve that much? They had all those turnovers. Was that Indianapolis giving the game to Pittsburgh, or did Pittsburgh force that staggering number of turnovers last week against Indiana Jones and the Colts here? So Pittsburgh, if you look at it on a tablet, their pass rush figures to dominate a ragtag, depleted offensive line for the Chargers. How bad is the offensive line? They're up to no good. In the Hood, in Inglewood, up to no good. Joe Alt, the stud tackle, he's out for the year. He's their top offensive lineman. So the Chargers made a panic move. They traded for someone from the Saints. You never want the Saints, Tom, on your team. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know Trevor Penning. All right, I'm not.
Well, the great Trevor Penning, what outstanding guard from Oklahoma.
He's yeah, right. Untested in LA, untested with the Chargers here. The Chargers allow the highest pressure rate in the NFL, and you got T.J. Watt, who hasn't played all that great. He's had a great career this year, not so great. This should be a breakout game here this week. And the Steelers rank in the top 10 in red zone stops. The Chargers are in the middle of the pack here. The main matchup is everyone's talking about the quarterbacks, Justin Herbert on one side, Aaron Rodgers on the other. And they're both top 10 quarterbacks. Rodgers more consistent, while Justin Herbert's ceiling, that'd be the roof, Tom. The ceiling is higher. But if you come down to the clean pocket situation, Aaron Rodgers, you figure the Chargers aren't going to get that much pressure, which will open things up, and Rodgers will be very consistent with those throws in a clean pocket. Most quarterbacks are. Rodgers has not been great in prime time since leaving the Green Bay Packers. He's played 7 primetime games. His team, the Jets and the Packers, are 2-5 against the spread in primetime games at night.
Jets and the Steelers.
Oh, Jets and Steelers. Did I say Packers? Yeah. Jets and Steelers are 2-5 against the spread. Bad job by me. Anyway, bottom line, Tom, I am going to take here the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right.
The Yinzers.
Yinzer's got to be happy about that.
I'm
See
sure they're thrilled.
Yes.
The Confluence. Have you been to Pittsburgh before? Beautiful city.
Oh, my God. Several times. Yes. Benny letting on heads, taking the Chargers, giving away the points. Benny taking the points with quarterback Aaron Moonbeam and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've had a great time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania several times. Went there to watch the U.S. Open when it was at Oakmont and stayed down there by the stadium. Also, when my college friend Glenn got married, he took me over into the Oakland section of Pittsburgh and introduced me to, there was a wall there, and he talked about McCloskey's home run in 1960 World Series and told me the whole story about that series and one of the most famous home runs ever hit as we sat there at night. That wall is still up where that home run went over on the campus of Pitt. It's pretty cool.
Bill Maserati. Right?
What did I say? But it is Bill Mazeroski. I get my Polish names mixed up.
You said a different name, but that's fine.
I did? Okay. I went to a Polish elementary school. I was grandmothered in.
Well, I did one of the first Maller meet and greets I ever did at Fox Sports Radio. I went on a road trip with my younger brother, and we drove across. We started out in Philadelphia, took a train. I was in New York visiting my other brother, took a train to Philadelphia, drove all the way across Pennsylvania, and then drove up.
It's a great drive.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Not lots of trees, lots of Amish people, whatever. The other group, but we had a great time. I did a Maller meet and greet in Pittsburgh, and it was a lot of fun. So
people would be surprised how many horse and buggies you see on the road driving from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh across Interstate 80. It's a beautiful drive, though.
Yeah, it is. Lots of trees and not much in between that and Harrisburg. There's a couple of cities, but that's it. All right, where are we going now, Tom?
Eagles at Packers, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Packers laid an egg last week against the Panthers. They'll likely bounce back against the Eagles on the unfrozen tundra. Philadelphia Super Bowl champions, they're getting 2.5 points.
Yeah, so on this one, this is the ABC game. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman have the call. And without much attention, the heavily criticized Jalen Hurts has actually found something of late, Tom.
Yeah.
3 of the last 4 games, he's had 280 or more yards.
He can pass now.
He's got 15 touchdowns and 1 interception the last 4 games. So that is outstanding. Now, some of that is against weaker opponents, but the Packers' pass defense, there is some vulnerability in that Green Bay secondary here. They're allowing 7.8 yards per pass attempt, meaning if for some reason Philadelphia gets clogged up, they can't run the ball, the run game fails, Philly can still move the chains through the air, right? So the Eagles rank in the top 5 in red zone touchdown percentage because of the tush push. They get in the red zone, they're most likely going to score. Monday night, Jalen Hurts, overall his record's not that great, but 4-1 in primetime games since the beginning of last season, and the Eagles had some dinged up players. They're coming off the bye week there, so Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, time to recover. They've had these long, lingering injuries there. Philadelphia did make a couple of moves. Howie Roseman trying to empower the Eagles defense there, improving that, at least in theory, dolled it up a little bit, improved the defense. The sharp money is leaning towards the Eagles, and I agree with the wise guys on this game. A small road dog with I believe a better team. The Packers,
better football team, and it's getting points. Yeah.
The Packers have lost to Carolina and Cleveland. I can't take you seriously if you lost to Cleveland and Carolina. So I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. And what about the penny?
Yeah, you're not always a big Eagles guy. You are penny. Landing on tails. Penny also going with the Philadelphia Eagles. Penny trying to pick, since Penny had such a bad week last week, trying to piggyback on your success, it seems.
Well, that will either go well or blow up in the Penny's face.
Yeah, right. Not always the smartest tactic to copy Ben Maller.
Hey, watch that, Looney, please. Come on.
A number of nattering nabobs of NFL nuggets knocking around your numbskull noggin this week, Ben. Make it make sense.
All right, we will make it make sense, Tom. We'll start out with the NFL using the International Olympic Committee to do business. Now, we know in the Olympic Games coming to Los Angeles in 2028, in those games, we're going to have flag football. However, the NFL, from what we're hearing, they're already campaigning for the 2032 games. You know where those games are going to be played, Looney?
I believe they'll be playing in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct, Tom. And according to the Brisbane Times, they say that they've been campaigned by the people associated with the NFL to make sure flag football is part of that. The NFL is planning on launching a flag football league. It's very important. They want this to be a global business. As you know, Tom, you're a man of the world. You travel outside the U.S. A lot of people don't like to follow American-style football.
I've never seen any football being played on a sandlot outside of the United States.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue. And the funniest thing is when you look at the crowd in London and you see the people, and they don't know that you're just supposed to pick a team. There'll be Browns fans, Texans fans, they're fans of all the teams. They buy the jerseys because they like the colors.
They also don't know why a team is kicking it away. I've watched football with foreigners, and the number one thing they say is they seem like they were doing good. Why are they kicking it away?
Exactly. So anyway, the point is the NFL is trying to get the International Olympic Committee, better known as the IOC, Tom, to include flag football in future games because they want to grow the sport. People in Australia are like, well, we got sports we want. We want netball, whatever that is, rugby league. I've heard of that, and surf life-saving. Is that where you rescue someone from the surf? Anyway, there's a lot of
that sounds like a noble sport.
There's a lot of campaigning going on behind the scenes. And my final thought, Tom, is Bill Belichick eyeing the LA Rams job. Does Belichick know something we don't know? Could Sean McVay leave the Rams to go do television? There were rumors of that falling into place a couple years ago. It didn't happen because why else would Bill Belichick randomly slobber all over Matthew Stafford? He compared Matthew Stafford, the way he's played late in his career, to the rise of Tom Brady late in his career, which is also
Matthew Stafford isn't on the morning side of the mountain.
Yeah. Well, it's also an admission, though, because Belichick he was at loggerheads with Brady anyway. He got rid of Brady, never imagining that the Brady experience would go to Tampa and win a Super Bowl. So he obviously made a mistake on that one. Now, we must look at the other games too, Tom. We don't want to just focus only on the big games. We pick every game on Benny versus the Penny. So we have some other games to get to, do we not? Right? Other matchups we have to mention here, the point spreads and whatnot. Yes?
Oh, I do know that Bills and Dolphins. Dolphins getting 9.5 points. I believe you and the Penny agree that to take the Bills and give away the points.
No, I'm taking the Dolphins in that game. I'm going to take the Dolphins plus the points in the game. Too many points.
Jaguars at Texans. Jaguars getting 1.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking in that game. I'm taking the Texans at home. So I'm taking.
Penny did as well. Cardinals at Seahawks. Cardinals getting 6.5.
Cardinals and Seahawks. I am going to go with Seattle here. I believe the Jacoby Brissett experience will go the wrong direction after he looked good against the Cowboys. The bad news is he's playing Seattle here, which is a much better defense, a top 5 defense. The Cowboys are clearly not.
And Browns at Jets.
Why are they playing this game, Tom?
I think it's because it's on the schedule, if I'm not mistaken. They have to. It's mandatory.
They lose a lot of money there. I'm going to take the Jets. I just don't trust
them. Oh, boy.
Yeah, the Jets shouldn't win this game, and this will upset the Jet fan base. You just traded away your 2 top defensive players, and then you went out and won a game, and you ruined draft stock. What's wrong with you? You love when your team sucks so much. Fans get upset when you win. It's just wacky. All right, that's enough, Tom. We will put the baby to bed.
Yes, make sure you watch Benny versus the Penny every week. It only makes sense.